guys, this is Lorena. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we are going to have a look at the topic of finances in your birth chart. So how can you use your birth chart to understand how you best make money and how you can grow on your financial situation? We are going to be using this birth chart today as an example for a reading, so we can see how we read that in someone's birth chart, how an astrologer interprets these things. But if you are interested in learning more about financial astrology or becoming an astrologer yourself, then I have an astrologer certification linked in the description box down below. You can check that out. But without any further ado, let's get started. So when we analyze finances in someone's birth chart, we have to understand which houses are relevant for that topic. The most important house is going to be the second house, because the second house is the house that represents someone's personal security, stability, and finances. The second house is basically the money that comes out of your own existence, out of your own identity, and out of your own ability to exchange energy with the people around you. On the contrary, the eighth house, which is also relevant in some cases, is going to be the house that represents financial security and stability that can come from partnerships, external connections, and connections with other entities or people. So that is because the eighth house is the second house that comes after the seventh house, which is the house of partnerships and contracts and marriage. So basically, the eighth house could be the money that you share with the spouse. Or the eighth house could be the money that you share with a business partner within your company if you don't own that company just yourself. On the other hand, the eighth house could represent the money that you get from investments and the stock exchange, because other companies that list their companies as stocks and allow you to invest into those companies, that is also a legal connection that you form with an entity where you bring in your money, they bring in their own staff and their own company growth, and you can profit from that. So the eighth house from a financial standpoint could also represent inheritances and financial help that comes from the outside, but it's almost always based on your own involvement with the other person, or because you bring something into that relationship in the first place. So these houses are going to be the most important ones, but for the purpose of today's reading, we're going to focus on the second house. Other important houses that we're going to look at also are going to be the 10th house, because the 10th house represents the career and the social status, the relationships with authority figures, and the person's calling. In this modern world, a lot of times someone's financial security and stability tends to be connected with what they do for work. And also the sixth house can represent the type of routine that the person wants. This can give us a little bit of a hint in terms of what work they actually end up doing. And finally, the last indicator that we're going to talk about is going to be the planet Jupiter. Just because Jupiter shows where we have a lot of good luck in life, where we are blessed with abundance, and what we are particularly wise and experienced at. So if, for example, you are to have Jupiter in your ninth house, you could be very good at teaching, learning and teaching, accumulating wisdom, and then relaying it to others. So that means you can make money out of that. If you have Jupiter in your 11th house, it means that you can be very influential when it comes to connecting with people, so you can make money from a social media career. Or if you have Jupiter in the 12th house, it means that you are very connected to the universe and the unseen forces, and that you have a lot of compassion for people. So working as a spiritualist or a therapist could be something that gives you an extra buck. So those are going to be interpretations that also work for Jupiter, but the very first thing that we look for is going to be the second house. The second house starts in Virgo in this case, and the zodiac sign on the second house cusp is always going to tell us what is the most baseline way in which our customer exchanges energy with the outside world. Now, keep in mind I mentioned exchanging energy. Exchanging energy can be in the form of money, but it can also be in the form of helping someone, thinking about someone, caring about someone. So a lot of times you can help someone, offer a service for them, and they pay you back money in return. Or when you interact with a coworker or a boss, or you start your own business, you have a particular type of energy that gets people to compensate you in return. When you have Virgo in your second house, the type of energy that tends to get compensated and the type of energy that gets exchanged is that of being analytical, paying attention to details, working with certain processes and improving them to become better. So the second house, people have second house in Virgo. A lot of times they make money from activities where they get to use their analytical capabilities and their organizational skills in order to improve on something or to offer a service or to keep things organized and so on and so forth. Virgo on a secondary interpretation style, it could also represent matters of health and management, office work as well. But most importantly, it's this energy of using your analytical capabilities to improve on something. So we would say that this person also with the second house starting in Virgo, they can have a tendency to be quite organized with their money or to be quite critical with how they manage their existing belongings. So on the contrary, if you were to have someone with the second house starting in Leo, that would be a person that has a preference for more lavish purchases, like having a car that impresses others or that gives you a sense of status, that you can shine with your belongings. But people who have their second house in Virgo, on the contrary, Virgo being a very practical zodiac sign, prefer to put their money and their energy into things that are helpful, that offer them a benefit, offer others a benefit as well. So they're more likely to invest into, I don't know, a computer that performs better rather than a computer that is I don't know, the most high-end purchase that other people would appreciate about you. So people with Virgo in their second house have the capability to manage finances and to exchange their energy in a way that involves analytical processes and helps them improve on their own life and in other people's lives. So naturally, the second house in Virgo is quite compatible with the way that the world works, because if you're careful with money, and in general also if you offer services, that's where you tend to attract the most money in return. Now, in order to gain an idea of how this person can make money, we can also look at the planetary ruler of the second house. Virgo is ruled by Mercury. So Mercury is going to be the second house ruler, and the second house ruler falls in the 11th house, in Gemini, and also conjunct the Sun. Okay, so this person is someone that is very creative with their thoughts, with their ideas. They have a lot of things to say and to share with others. And Mercury also falls in the 11th house, which can be the house of technology and innovation on one hand, but it can also be the house that represents social connections and networking. So this is a person that we would advise to socialize as much as possible, possibly even create a social media account or think about sharing their ideas on a public platform, because people with Mercury in the 11th house can be very inspirational with their ideas and they can have a lot of helpful advice to offer to others. And the fact that Mercury is in Gemini will make them very creative with their words and maybe even predisposed to literature and stuff like that. But there's a lot of ideas that need to be shared with others, a lot of communication that needs to be happening, and that is where the financial security will come as a result too. Interestingly enough, the Sun is also in the 11th house, so this is a person that finds a lot of ego happiness from activities of being around people and socializing and interacting with people. So we don't want this person alone. We don't want this person working in the shadows. We want this person visible and to network as much as possible, and then to bring their Virgo energy into these interactions, so to help others with their expertise and analytical capabilities so that they can bring financial security from that. Now, when we look at the career, because the career can be something that that is relevant for us too, we are going to identify a couple of important pieces of information. First of all, the 11th house can also be perceived as the house that represents the income that comes from the career, because just like we saw the 8th house being the second house from the 7th house, so the money from partnerships, the 11th house is the second house from the 10th house, which is the career and the social status. Having the second house ruler in the 11th house confirms that the money will come mostly from the career path that they choose. And when we look at the type of career that and activity that they can have, we see the 10th house in Taurus. Taurus is ruled by Venus, so Venus as the career ruler will also give a domain for this field of work. Venus is in Leo, Venus is in the first house. This means that this person is meant to be visible, this person is meant to be a leader. Having the career ruler in the first house means also that they're meant to be at the forefront of whatever they do professionally. So in some cases, this means that, you work as the receptionist of a company. You're the very first person that people see when they walk into that room. But it could also mean that you are using your physical body or your name or your identity as the forefront of what you do for work. So this could be someone who does modeling or sports. Because Venus is in Leo, this also brings a sense of either creativity or fame into the activity. So this could be someone that maybe they're growing their own company. The company has their name and their face, and the company grows to be very well known. And just because of the 11th house connections with the second house, we're also talking about someone who needs to network a lot to maybe become a socialite in order to grow their business, or someone who has a social media account, because that satisfies both the making my name visible thing and the social media 11th house interpretation thing too. Venus is also conjunct Jupiter. Remember, I mentioned Jupiter can be a very relevant planet for the money-making process too. In this case, Jupiter falls also in the first house and in Leo, so the energy of creativity and fame is also enhanced. This person needs to shine as part of the work that they do. They need to be in the center of attention and to be appreciated. But they're also appreciated for their wisdom, because Jupiter in the first house is someone who is perceived as very expansive and someone that has a lot to offer. So again, we don't want this person to keep their opinions on the inside. We don't want this person to be hidden from the world. We want this person to be visible. The fact that we also have Mars in here and the Moon definitely brings in the fact that this person can have a lot of assertive attitude to growing the career, and that they have an emotional motivation to shine as well. So having all of these placements in Leo definitely means that this person will get some ego satisfaction too from being in a visible point and generally uplifting others. So to bring a conclusion between all of these indicators, second house in Virgo, this person makes money when they use their analytical capabilities and organizational skills to improve their and other people's lives. Virgo ruled by Mercury means Mercury is their second house ruler. Second house ruler in Gemini and in the 11th house and conjunct the Sun means this person's meant to shine in a public way, to interact with others, to be a socialite, or to connect with people as much as possible. With the Gemini traits, we could see the topic of media, writing, publishing, languages at the forefront of what they do for work too. And because the career ruler alongside Jupiter are both in the first house and in Leo, it means that the career also needs to involve them being at the entrance of the company or at the forefront of a company, or for them to kind of connect their physical body to the work that they do. And because they're in Leo, it's all about shining, expressing themselves creatively, and being the star of the show. So yeah, this is how we would interpret the finances in someone's chart. I hope this reading was helpful, but again, if you want to get a deeper understanding of all the possible placements and interpretation styles, I do encourage you to check out the astrology certification that I have in the description box below. If you have any questions or any suggestions for future videos, don't hesitate to comment as well. But other than that, wishing you an amazing day. Take care of yourselves, and I will catch you later. Bye-bye.